Yo, welcome back to Theo Gaming. Today we have got Nick with us. He's come and he's going to be talking to us a little bit on substances and what substances can do to you. And we're looking at it from a Christian's perspective. So it's going to be really cool. Nick, you there, brother?
Yes, sir, I am. What's up, Theo?
Yo, so I'm really keen to get some of your thoughts. We've had a little bit of discussion beforehand, and we had some questions in our chat on stream. We're actually live right now, but yeah, we had some guy who had a conversation with his brother-in-law. Oh, I'm dead.
Okay.
And
That sounds like a lot of names.
yeah, I think it was all three. But yeah, he basically asked the question, what are your thoughts on marijuana? So while you're killing and clutching up, I'm gonna kind of rehash our discussion that we kind of had earlier.
Oh, my king.
Oh no, you got this. You clutch up.
See that?
Can you get out and get another gun in the truck?
I am working on it.
Yeah.
Oh, the lag right now is crazy.
Nice. But yeah, before we were talking, and we kind of thought like there's a whole bunch of views on like alcohol and how that can affect your mind. Some Christians drink alcohol and some don't. But we're wondering, what does the Bible have to say about it? And if there is so much like confusion between Christians themselves, like what really is the real answer? What do we need to be setting our eyes on? And similarly, like with drugs, does that affect your mind in a similar way to alcohol? Is that comparable to alcoholism? Like, what does it look like to use drugs and alcohol in a healthy way? And is that something that you can actually do? So that's kind of going to be what we're talking about today and getting a little bit into it. But yeah, Nick, my question for you is, have you ever had experiences with alcohol or drugs?
I have not personally. I have had family members. In fact, both sides of my family have been impacted by some form of alcohol or drugs, and as is the norm in these kinds of conversations, these types of things, it's never a positive effect, if that makes any sense. As many memories can be made around the holiday times with alcohol and drinking, when we're discussing alcohol in any kind of like context as to like, I might as well here, as to like how it impacted the family, it's never in a positive light, and that was indeed the case for my family.
Yep.
Both on my mom's side, her dad was a bit of an alcoholic, and on my dad's side, there were a lot of casual drinkers and even some marijuana use around the holiday times, and it resulted in some other issues regarding relationships, all that kinds of stuff. So
yeah, okay.
But I think we can look at it as more than just like, oh well, Nick's family had a bad experience, therefore none of us should drink alcohol, right? Like there should be some other like some biblical and some Christian
like
theology
principles
around. Yeah, exactly. Limits. Is it absolutely a bad thing? Is it absolutely a good thing?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot to discuss here, much more than can be fit into, say, a Fortnite match.
Yeah, definitely. Although a Fortnite match is a good way to discuss it, because it means that we can have a medium to both kind of distract ourselves and speak openly and honestly about the topic. But yeah, I guess if I'm gonna share about my own personal experiences, I've never used drugs. I have drunk alcohol before. I've never been drunk though. Never gone to that state of my mind where I've lost ability to control myself. I really think, at least the Bible is really super clear on drunkenness. there's a lot of questions in the Bible about like when drunkenness starts, but we kind of have specific measures that we can compare in life, like whether it be rash decision making or like even blacking out and coming unconscious. But I've never really gone anywhere near that kind of level, so it's hard to compare. I think I mentioned this verse to you earlier. There's a verse in Corinthians, and it says something like whoever's looking in the comments right now, you can find it for me. But it's something along the lines of, whatever you eat or drink, don't let it be a distraction to others and their faith. And so, like, for example, if there's a vegan and you're around a vegan, obviously you're not going to be ripping into a steak or something whilst you're having dinner with them. Like, that's just impolite, it's disrespectful, and when they're doing something specifically for their faith, then it's more it affects them more. Like, I know myself personally, I like what's an example? Actually, yeah, let's use alcohol. I know heaps of people that think alcohol is really, really bad for you, and that you just shouldn't have a scent of it. If you have like even a sip, it affects your mind, which is true in a way. But it means that around those people, I try and get my friends to like avoid having alcohol around those people, because all you're gonna do is just frustrate them, right? And
Exactly.
and when their faith is saying, oh, I don't drink alcohol because I believe in the Bible it says not to do that, then I want to encourage them in their faith. Even though, I'm not really sure if that's the answer or not. I want to build up their faith. And if that's what their faith looks like, that's true. Obviously, some people's faith are just missing concepts. I believe many different aspects of Christianity, different denominations do just have theology wrong. And so I wouldn't conform so much so that I'm doing something opposite to what my own faith is saying. But I'm not going to go and do something just that knowing that it's destroying and breaking down other people's faith. If that makes sense to you, Nick.
Oh yeah. Another great example of what you're talking about, Theo, is the meat markets in early Christianity. Some of these, what I found a lot of Christians don't know is that in these early Roman times, a lot of the meats passing through the markets at the time were sacrificed to idols, and some Christians found it repulsive, especially these Christians had just come from these hedonistic backgrounds. They found a weakness knowing that the meat that they were eating were sacrificed to idols. And Paul writes about this to the Christians, saying, just because someone claims that this meat belongs to this fake god, that god has no say over like that meat. Like, it's completely fine for a Christian to eat a meat that was at one time sacrificed to an idol as some kind of honor to like bless the meat. But if these Christians are having issues with it, if these Christians, in their weakness, in their moment of weakness, because they have come from these background things and they've taken part in these dark cultures, and if they don't want to eat meat, then let them live according to their conscience. Let them have that final say. In the same way, for people who have bad experiences with alcoholic backgrounds, if just because people in the biblical times drank alcohol, Jesus drank alcohol at the wedding as his famous first documented miracle. Don't let that just be a catch-all for like. Oh, I actually hate that snipe on 200 ping.
Behind us.
Oh shit.
Shoot,
Yeah,
dude. But yeah, I mean, like, it's hard because, like, we hear things about, like, Jesus turning water into wine, and we're like, oh, is wine okay then? because that's alcoholic. There's context of alcohol in that. So if Jesus is sinless and he drank wine, then of course, then at least having a sip of wine isn't a sin, right? Is that a fair assumption?
I think it's absolutely fair. I mean, we're told that Jesus lived a blameless, sinless life so that he would be worthy, he would be eligible to make that ultimate sacrifice for us, and that no other person can make that sacrifice in place of a completely blameless person. So we have to assume in that case that drinking alcohol was not a sin.
Yeah. Okay, so we can at least draw the line in the fact that wine and having some wine, we don't know how much wine he had, but having some wine isn't sinful. Which is cool. So I'm able to add wine to my, list of beverages. That's exciting. But how much wine are we allowed to drink? That's like when is it the cap? Like, am I allowed just one small glass of wine, or am I allowed to drink a whole wine bottle in one sitting? Like, where do we think the cap is?
I love that question because it's, on its face, it's like, well, can you even draw an arbitrary number, or even a group of people, or even an individual? And I think the answer to that is no. It's because, I mean, can we try to find like a scientific measurement for the exact amount of wine needed for a person to like lose their ability to cognitively think and become reasonably reasonably incoherent, drunken? And that has to do with not only the person's body weight, BMI, but also with like their emotional state, situationally. Is that a wise decision for them to be doing at that time?
Yeah.
And so, the drinking of wine in social context is not prohibited, but in cases that it could allow Christians to be seen in a poor light, or you're going to be making a high stress choice, or even if you're not feeling good and wine becomes a way for you to feel better when you're down bad, and it becomes a habit and addiction. In all those cases, we need to be extra careful with it because, scientifically, alcohol has a way of getting into your brain and bypassing all these barriers that your brain has placed to prevent these kinds of substances from entering.
Yeah.
But wine has the capacity to be dangerous if abused, and so we have to be extra careful. But not to skirt around your original question, that's something that someone has to, to always err on the side of caution.
Yeah, well, isn't that biblical? Err on the side of caution? Isn't that a biblical principle?
Exactly. But yes, absolutely. Being cautious, using subtlety, and being as wise as serpents, as gentle as doves, knowing your own boundaries, and if there's ever a question, is this wrong? I mean, the answer is probably yes.
Yeah, definitely. If you're questioning whether or not it's okay to do, then you're probably better off to not do it. And I think watch out. I think that's a principle that I like to use in a lot of my life, because like I don't know, like where is the limit? Oh, there's people right next to us. One's low. But yeah, like with a lot of our life, if we're doing something and we're not sure whether or not it's okay, we just avoid doing it.
And especially, I think that's one of the main walks of Christianity, is getting better and better about saying no before we get to the point where we cross over a line and it becomes sin, or becomes unwise, or it otherwise can damage us, or even to someone else, their views on what a Christian life looks like, or what a Christian acts like.
Yeah, definitely.
In their own walk.
Definitely.
I mean, that the actions we take have very real consequences, not only on us, but on the world around us.
Yeah.
And sometimes it may be wise to just, in a social context, just like not eating meats sacrificed to idols in front of someone who has weaknesses like that, to abstain from drinking around a person who has a problem or who has past trauma from someone who in the past hurt them in some way, or they were hurt themselves by using the substances. So it's a complex discussion,
Yeah.
one that can ultimately be answered by having a discussion with your creator, meditating on his word, and talking to other people in your life about the people who know you well, having them be honest with you about the weaknesses they see in you and pitfalls that may arise in you partaking in these potentially dangerous activities.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like a lot of the time, because like I can say it myself, I'm a 6'4" guy. I'm a pretty big dude. I'm sure I could take a lot more alcohol to my system than like a 5'1" lady could. And that's just human structure. That's how like anatomy is made. But that doesn't mean that I should go and seek out, the ratio of if it takes 2 glasses of wine to make a small lady get drunk, maybe that's 4 for me. Like, I'm not going to be seeking out the limits. It's not what we're after. We should be checking our heart attitude and be trying to seek the Lord in whatever we're doing. And if that's, trying to make sure that, I don't know if having another glass is going to be okay for me, I should just stop here. Maybe I could have another glass and be okay, but it's making sure that my mind is capable to seek God in every single moment. And if there's a time where I'm not able to do that, then I should be wary. I should be wary because something's gone wrong, and I should always be able to seek God, whatever I'm doing. And I think that's really what it comes down to. If having another drink is pushing you away from God, then don't have it. Is it not that simple? Like if that next sip, that next drink is gonna separate you from a relationship with your Heavenly Father, like that's not a good drink, and I wouldn't want to be having that. And I think it's the same with drugs, right? If smoking that drug or inhaling that drug, whatever you do with drugs, I don't know. If you have that, is that going to push you closer to God or further away?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's actually a Bible verse about that. Jesus says if, your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off. We're meant to actively push away the evil, saying, get away from me, Satan. And whether that is directly Satan, or if that is one of his tools, one of his devices that he can use to hurt you. And knowing that, with the case of wine, it can be so dangerous because will it 100% of the time result in a bad decision? Not necessarily. In fact, people can have stories of, being able to do the right thing even with the adversity. But the thing is, wine will never help you make a good decision. If anything, it will just make your decisions more random and less structured and less organized. So knowing how to actively avoid sin and avoiding all appearance of sin even is so vitally important in the Christian walk, and I think it's something that is oftentimes undermined by our desire to partake in earthly things and pursue pleasure and enjoyment rather than the Word of God and a lasting relationship with Him.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. And I think having a relationship with God is the most important bit. Whatever it comes down to, that's what we need to prioritize. Anything else is getting in the road. We just push that away. We rebuke wickedness and we seek God. Oh, they're trying to come up the mountain. All right. Do you reckon we lock in and get this dub now?
Yes, sir.
Let's do it. Guys, thanks for tuning into the video. Let me know what your thoughts are. I'm sure Nick and I would both love to hear your thoughts on the matter. Is alcohol okay? How much can we have? Is there a line that we haven't found that we can draw in the sand? I don't know. Let me know in the comments section, and we'll catch you in the next video. As for now, let's get this dub. All right, we have to. Ooh.
The lock in here.
Lock in.
A lot of smoke down there. I just saw this build is freshly made. Yep, they're building up the mountain.
I've got this smokes that I'm just throwing at them.
Oh, that's yours? That's yours.
24 on the guy at the top blue.
I see him, I see him. Hang on, can I get a snipe on him? Oh, Oh, you see the dude's gun
Yeah, I see
poking
him,
out of
I
this
see him.
wall here?
Knocked.
Nice.
The one in the
Sorry.
front. 24 on the other guy.
Oh, shoot, I'm chopped. Oh, they chopped me, bro.
Oh, bro. That's not good.
I think you're holding zone on them. Yeah, he's down here now. He's in this box. He's gonna try to res. If you can spray through that box or rocket it somehow, just make him so he can't res. Yep, he's got a steam in him.
Alright. I think they're gonna stop me.
We're probably actually gonna end up trading reses. Okay.
Oh, watch out. Grenades. No way!
No.
Look, it was a good effort. And we had a really good discussion. So, man, thank you for having it with me.
Oh, 100%, yeah. I don't know. I was personally I was having a little bit of trouble, like kind of like locking on discussion, but like I don't know. There was something you said towards the middle that reminded me of being wise as serpent and gentle as doves, and after that, I really felt like first everything you were saying was great, but I felt like I felt something calling. I definitely felt like the spirit moving in me.
Yeah.
Towards the second half there.
That's so good, man. So good, man. Well, God bless you, and we'll catch you in the next one.